Howdy friends, vinyl community, music lovers, Wes here, checking in with my December vinyl inbox. Sorry there haven't been any videos in the past couple weeks, things just got really hectic with the holiday season and some other things happened and just, yeah, 2015 was just a really tough year for me, and it's been a really rough year for me. So been struggling all year, and just more bad news came at the end of the year, and just it wasn't such a good year for me. So I'm looking, definitely we're here in 2016. I'm hoping 2016 is going to be much better for me. So let's go ahead and get into this stack of records. I didn't expect to have a whole lot this month. It being December, I'm buying gifts for other people, and I didn't really buy a lot. I got 3 pieces of, newer vinyl here. And then I got a pretty big haul from Goodwill. I haven't had a really great thrift store haul in a long time. So let's go ahead and get into this stack. This is my December vinyl inbox. First pickup I have here is a used pickup I got at Here Again Records here in town. It's from a band I've recently grown to like quite a bit, and that is the Canadian indie rock band Stars. This is their 2010 release called The Five Ghosts. And there is the gatefold on that. And yeah, Stars are just a really great, very large indie rock group. Use a lot of different types of instrumentation, anywhere from acoustic to electric to electronic, and they blend it all together really beautifully and just make some awesome music. And this is another great album from them. Really enjoyed this, picking this up, and glad I found it used, because these are out of print, so it wasn't cheap, but I was glad to have found that sort of in the wild, where I could just pick it up and really be able to inspect it before I spent $20 on that. So it was, and that would be what it would go for online from what I've seen, at least that much, if not more, especially by the time you paid shipping. So I was glad to have found that in the wild. And that one's just on black vinyl on Vagrant Records. Really nice copy. Whoever had it took really good care of it, so I appreciate that. Very nice minty copy of that. The next thing I picked up in December was actually a Black Friday Record Store Day release. But ended up buying this one online just because the price was so much cheaper to buy it online. And that is the Stardust and White Dwarf with the Casket Girls EP, I guess you could call it. It's a one-sided LP. The second side is etched. It's titled What Keeps You Up at Night. Stardust and the White Dwarfs is a psychedelic band. It's Wayne Coyne's brother's band, I think. Very much along the same lines as Flaming Lips, I would say. And the Casket Girls are a sort of electronic folk duo out of Savannah, Georgia. Really awesome group, and a group that I collect, and so I wanted to have this in the collection, so that was really cool to pick that up. I'll go ahead and show. There's some interesting things that went along with this release. It did come with a lyric sheet, and it came with a, you're probably not going to be able to see this real well, but it came with a bag of glitter. Little tiny little baggie of glitter with a crown imprint on the baggie. Not sure what that's about, but it's interesting. Download code and a Graveface Records little catalog in their little points system. If you collect enough of these points, you can get a free release from Graveface Records. So yeah, it was a pretty neat Record Store Day release, Black Friday Record Store Day release. The only thing that I really picked up this year. Wasn't really interested in anything else from Black Friday Record Store Day. So that's what I got. Actually, I should show you the vinyl, because it is quite interesting. It comes on this marbled pink vinyl. Very light, creamy pink vinyl. And as I said, it's a one-sided EP, I guess you could say. There's 5 tracks, or 4 tracks. 4 tracks. And then the B-side, nothing on it, but it does have an etching. Hopefully I can catch some of that here. You can kind of see some of the etchings on there. Different eyes. Pretty neat little etching. But yeah, pretty pricing. The list price on this was $25, which is, for an EP, it's just crazy in my opinion. So I paid like 18 for it shipped. So that was a lot better to do it that way for me anyway. And the last sort of new thing I got here, I was at the Books A Million here in town, buying some calendars for half price. After Christmas, they put them on half price, so I always buy my calendars after Christmas. And I like the page a day calendars, sort of something funny to look at every day. And I found this release in their vinyl stacks. They had marked at half price, which made it $10, and that is the supergroup Tired Pony out of Ireland, I think. But has Peter Buck from REM is part of this group, and Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol is on here as well. And this is kind of an Americana indie rock sort of sound. It's really peaceful. It's really enjoyable. I didn't know anything about this group before it, and when I was digging through the bins there at the bookstore and saw this and saw that it was half price, and I was like, I'm interested to see what this is about. Listened to it a little bit in the store, liked what I heard, so I thought $10 for an LP. Yeah, I'll give that a try. It sounds pretty nice, and I really did enjoy this quite a bit. So took this home, spun it. It was a nice late night kind of spin, and just really chill and cool, and really relaxing and peaceful. So glad to have picked that up. So that's it for the sort of newer, more expensive vinyl. And then, as I said, I had a really huge Goodwill score here. I was out doing some Christmas shopping one evening nearby a Goodwill, so I was driving right by. I said, I'll stop in just for a minute just to see if there's anything there. Turns out there was a bunch of vinyl there, a bunch of new stuff that they recently put out, and I really hit it pretty big. So I got this huge stack here. They still are doing the 10 for $2 deal, so these are 20 cents a piece. So I got 35 records for $7.50. So just remember that as you're going through these. I paid $7.50 for every one of these records. For all together, they were $7.50 for everything. So let's go ahead and get into it. First one we have here, Devo's Are We Not Men? We Are Devo. So that's a classic Devo album that I did not have. I've been kind of keeping my eye out for it. I'm not the biggest Devo fan, but I do want to hear all the albums. So now I can hear this one, and that will be great to be able to hear that. Next thing, a band I don't know anything about, but I thought I would give it a try. It looked interesting, and that is The Inmates with First Offense. Look like it could be something sort of post-punky, new wave-ish, I don't know. Who knows what that is? Could be interesting. Got a Tubes album I didn't have. This is self-titled, I believe, The Tubes. Interesting photo on the back there. Do want to hear all the Tubes albums as well. Next thing we have here is Montrose, self-titled. Warner Brothers presents Montrose. Some of the covers on these are a little rough, but all the vinyl is VG or better, I would say. There actually was quite a bit I had to leave behind just because the vinyl was thrashed. I'll put in a clip right here just to show you some of the stuff I left behind. So yeah, that was just a sample of some of the things I had to leave behind just because they were just totally thrashed. There was no way they would play, or they wouldn't play well anyway. They definitely had some very deep scratches in them, so left those behind. It's sad to see records that far damaged and stuff that I would like to have, but don't have. So let's continue on with the fun of this haul. Here's one I know it's a well-loved album, a classic album, definitely something that's not in my wheelhouse, so not something I would buy in a record store if I saw it. But for 20 cents to be able to hear it, that's totally awesome. And that is 20 cents for Nevermind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols. This sort of punk hardcore stuff is not really my thing, but I do definitely want to hear this album just because it is so well loved and it's a classic album, and it's probably on the Rolling Stone Top 500 and the 1001 Albums You Must Hear, probably on both of those lists, I would imagine. And I'm glad to be able to pick this up and actually hear it. So that was a nice find. Here is a Frank Zappa, Captain Beefheart and the Mothers, Bongo Fury. Again, Zappa is not really a thing I'm into, but I do want to hear as much as I can, and so when I can grab them for this kind of price, I definitely grab these. And also we have Mothers of Invention, Worst of the Mothers. Got the Wailers here with Burnin'. Gatefold on that one. Here's one I was really glad to find, one I've been searching for. I've almost bought the reissue on a couple occasions, but just passed on it. And glad to have found an original, and that is Dr. John in the Right Place. I imagine I'm really going to enjoy listening to this. Has an interesting sort of gatefold here, very colorful album artwork and everything, and I was really happy to find this one, and I was stressing out looking at the vinyl because I was worried it was going to be really damaged, but it's really clean, so I was happy to find that. Got a copy of Bob Dylan's Infidels, still in shrink. I do have another one of these in the inbox, but I didn't want to leave this one behind just in case I needed a backup or use something for trade or whatnot. Copy of the Beatles' self-titled White Album, whatever you want to call it. This is a late 70s, early 80s release on the Purple Capitol label, but unfortunately it's not the one I'm looking for, the Wally Troggett mastering. I'm still on the search for one of those, but there's actually two copies of this album here, and I picked both of them up, and they're both Purple Capitol labels, late 70s pressings. One had the pictures, neither one had the poster. So that's what the insert situation is on these. Next up, probably my favorite Led Zeppelin album of all time, and not a great copy, but I just couldn't leave it behind, and that is Led Zeppelin 3. I'd love to have a really nice copy of this album. As I said, it's my favorite Led Zeppelin album, and I'm struggling. I don't want to buy one of the reissues because I don't like the idea that it comes from a digital source. I'd much rather have an original. So Led Zeppelin 3, awesome album. I love this album. My favorite by far. The best Led Zeppelin album in my opinion. Here's another one that's not really in my wheelhouse, but I figured I'd give it a try, and that is the Dead Boys with Young, Loud, and Snotty. Add another one to the Black Sabbath collection, that is Sabotage. There was a Masters of Reality there that I had to leave behind that I really wanted, but it was scratched badly, deeply scratched. So I don't pick those up. There's no way that's going to play well. Here's a cool one. King Crimson live album, USA, from 1975. They do Lark's Tongues and Aspic on here, as well as 21st Century Schizoid Man. So, always love a King Crimson album, and great to find that in a thrift store. Next up, Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen, live from deep in the heart of Texas. Some sort of country rock type stuff here. That'll be a good spin there. The other copy of the White Album that I mentioned, I think this is the one with that has the headshots, but not the poster. Here's one I've seen a lot of. I wasn't something I really had to have in the collection, so I haven't bought it yet in a record store. But this is the Beatles live at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany. Quite a bit of insect damage on this one, but looks like it will play pretty well. The vinyl looks pretty nice and shiny on it, so I will get to at least hear this. Here's some of the early Beatles stuff. That was a pretty nice find. A copy of Blue Oyster Cult's Agents of Misfortune. This is the one with Don't Fear the Reaper on it. Classic album from them. I guess the name of this band is 999, and the title of the album is High Energy Plan. It's on the PVC Records label, so I know that's a well-respected label, so I thought it was worth giving this a shot for 20 cents. It's hard to go wrong with whatever you grab. Next up, got a Ramones album here. I think this is my first Ramones album ever. This is Leave Home. Later album 77 on this one. Here's one I've been sort of on the lookout as well. Have it on CD, but never had it on vinyl until now. And that is Van Morrison's Astral Weeks. Definitely a classic from him. Great album, awesome album. Yeah, a must have, and I'm glad I finally get to add this to my collection. Here is a Dr. John album, The Night Tripper. Awesome artwork on this one as well. Really enjoyed that. Just what I love about vinyl is just the huge artwork and the liner notes and just the tactile feel of it all. And I love vinyl. Can't say enough good things about it. Here is a classic. I actually already have this in my collection, so probably going to use this for trade or sale. This is David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. I seem to be able to find this one really easily. For some reason, the other David Bowie albums that I want, I can't find, like Hunky Dory, Aladdin Sane, those kind of albums, Station to Station. Just don't find them. This is an original on the yellow Dynaflex label, orangish yellow Dynaflex label. We have the Miles Davis Quintet, Miles Smiles, Mono, and Columbia. Always great to pick up some Miles Davis in a thrift store. That's definitely a rare occurrence, if at all. Here's one I almost bought recently on Discogs. Glad I didn't, because there it was. Two Live Crew's second album, Move Something. I just finished reading Luke Skywalker's autobiography. So just been really revisiting all the Luke Skywalker, Two Live Crew, sort of Miami bass 80s scene, and didn't have this on vinyl, wanted to have it on the vinyl, so I think I have pretty much everything Two Live Crew related on vinyl. I have the first album, I have this album, I have Sports Weekend, I have Sports Weekend 2. I think I pretty much got it covered. So yeah, I was glad to pick this up in a thrift store. That was awesome. Something I've been looking for. Here we go. Got Aerosmith's Get Your Wings. One I already do have in the collection, but it's in pretty rough condition. I do like this album quite a bit, so glad to have this as an upgrade for me. Another Led Zeppelin album, Houses of the Holy. Another pretty good one from them. I do like this album quite a bit. Here is another Van Morrison album, much later here. An Inarticulate Speech of the Heart, 1983 on this one. Here's another one, my first ever Thelonious Monk album. This is Monk's Miracles. It's a Columbia Record Club exclusive in mono. So haven't listened to Thelonious Monk before now, but I have one now to listen to. So that was a great find. Next up, we got Cream, Goodbye. Another one I've been kind of looking for. I have pretty much most of the other Cream releases, the more popular ones. Hadn't found this one before now, so definitely wanted to grab it. Glad to have found this one. Here's one I was glad to have found. Talking Heads Stop Making Sense. Still on the lookout for a copy of Fear of Music. I'll find that one eventually. I found it a couple times, but it's been wrecked. So hopefully someday I'll find that one, but glad to add that one to the collection. A copy of Patti Smith's Horses. Classic album from her. Didn't want to leave that one behind. Bob Marley and the Wailers, featuring Peter Tosh, early music. And this is a compilation of some earlier recordings, but definitely didn't want to leave that one behind. And last but not least, we have Thin Lizzy with Jailbreak. So as I said, yeah, that was quite an awesome haul for a Goodwill. 20 cents a piece, $7.50 for all those albums. Can't beat it. I got really lucky. I was happy. As I said, lots of bad news came in December, so that was a really nice, peaceful day to just be able to dig and find just some amazing albums and just be able to take my mind off things for a little bit. So thank you for watching my December vinyl inbox. Sorry this video is a little long. Sorry I haven't made videos in the past couple weeks. I guess you get a nice long video to make up for the lack of videos in the last few weeks. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're all having a great new year, great 2016. As I said, I'm hoping 2016 is going to be a lot better than 2015 was. Look forward to a lot more vinyl videos, a lot more great times, and hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, leave me some comments, and see you soon. Bye-bye.